So Jennifer, what are you doing here?
What I'm actually doing is, this is the ground cover, the grass. What I've done is I've painted on some brown water-based household emulsion paint. The trick is to go for a paint that sort of looks vaguely like mud, wood or earth.
Okay.
So that you don't see garish colour or just bare wood through it.
Alright.
Whilst it's still very wet, because I've just painted it, I scatter on. This is just Gauge Master Flock. In olden days of railway modelling, people used dyed sawdust. We've moved on a bit since then. We now use the equivalent of the contents of Mum's Hoover bag.
Okay.
It's like fibrous fluff. And it seems to hold its colour better. The trouble with sawdust is that it fades. Not to mention the fact it looks nothing really like grass. It's just sort of a colour. Oops.
And you're sprinkling it rather than placing it.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's not really a powder. It's like fibrous.
Okay.
So like if you teased out cotton wool and dyed it, you might get something vaguely similar. I think it's man-made, so it's I think it's like a nylon type thing.
Right. And these lumps in it that you're leaving in, is that just to give it a different level on the grass?
No, that's just me being careless more than anything else. It's very difficult to sprinkle it very, very evenly, if you know what I mean.
Right,
so we get a few lumps. It's okay. What we do is we just move them around once I've got the main bulk in.
Alright.
Afterwards I'm going to add in some other colours with these powders. There's sort of a heathery, well it's not really heather, I think it's a summer mix that's billed as. And then there's a slightly more green one, and that will go into all this as well. And then we fix it all with hairspray of all things. Cheap hairspray, preferably not perfumed, because otherwise your model smells like hairdressers. It's not necessarily a bad thing. There's probably worse things it could smell of.
Well, I can think of several things that would be worse to smell of.
But now you see these lumps that you pointed out, we just sort of move them around. Put a little bit, you don't want to put too much pressure on, otherwise you'll just end up with paint all over your fingers and a huge mess. But just sort of...
Gently brushing it.
Kind of. It's difficult to describe. It's one of those things that you just sort of... you do based on experience of having done it before and what worked. What works for one person might not necessarily work for another.
Fair enough. Well, we'll leave it there and we'll come back when it's all done.
Yeah, okay. See you later.